If you're looking to move to Southern Maryland and you're considering buying land, watch this video before you make any decisions. Hey, my name is Rob Scout. I'm a realtor down here in Southern Maryland with EXP Realty, and the entire goal of this channel is to help make your move to Southern Maryland so much easier. So if you're looking to move to Southern Maryland, use the contact information below, call me, text me, and I'd be happy to help any way that I possibly can. All right, so let's just jump right into it. I want to show you 4 different properties that are land listings and kind of go over what you're looking for when you're looking for land in Southern Maryland. The first one I'm going to show you is a big plot of land in Leonardtown, and it's on the water, and I want to show you some good things and maybe some questions I still have about this property after I look at it online. So going on to Zillow, you can see right here there's a few different pictures. One, of course, is the lot lines that you see lined up right here. Also, you have this right here, which looks like the lot lines again, but also these circles, and we'll get into those circles in just a second. And going through the pictures is always important because you can kind of get a feel for kind of how the land is situated and also if the land is cleared or not. When the land is cleared like this, especially in the critical area, it can make it easier to get permits because you don't have to remove many trees to put a house or put a septic system in. And that brings me to the next thing. A septic system is what these circles are right here. These are perk tests or percolation tests, and these are areas where they've tested the soil to see if a septic system would work. And it looks like they did 3 different perk tests in these areas, and this is where your septic system would have to be. Now, there are setbacks from the water too, and setbacks from these perks right here, or where you end up putting your system. So where your house is going to sit is really dependent on a lot of different factors, including boundary lines, so setbacks from the boundary lines on all these, setbacks from your system, your septic system, and setbacks from the well as well, and setbacks from the water too. So just glancing at this, I would assume that the house is probably going to have to be somewhere up in this area here, but I'm not 100% sure, and it would be best to look at like a plat that they have if they have house plans on here. Now, scrolling down, I noticed that there are no mentions really of approved house plans. So for the next thing that you're going to have to do with a lot of this stuff is you're going to have to figure out what kind of house you want on this property. Now, you can't just do whatever you want. There's actually guidelines, especially in the critical area, about the size house you can build with the amount of acreage you have. So make sure if you want to buy this, you're talking to a builder first and get an idea of what kind of footprint you can even have in this area. And another thing that I noticed when I was reading through this listing, and a lot of people ask this property right here is currently held in an agricultural assessment and forestry management program. Now, this is great for the owners that currently own the property because it means the taxes are next to nothing. But if you're someone that doesn't want to keep it in those 2 programs, there might be a big chunk of money that you're going to owe when it comes out of that program, or it might be money that needs to be put onto the sellers to pay when it comes out of that program. And really, in a lot of cases, to build a house, depending on the size of the acreage, the size of the lot, you might need to take it out of those programs to even put a house there. But again, the best people to talk about specific situations like that are 1, the county officials, and 2, a local builder who has done these kind of builds before. So overall, the things that I like about this property are 1, the lot is bigger, which means you can probably fit a bigger house on the property. 2, it's on the water. Everyone wants to live on the water. Number 3 is that there's already perks done on the property. And number 4, it's in a convenient location in Leonardtown. But questions that I still have are, where are you going to be able to site the house? Looking at some of these pictures, based on this one, I thought there wasn't much woods in between you and the water. But if you look on these next ones, you can see there's actually a good amount of wood line between you and the water. So you might not even be able to clear enough of these trees to have a view of the water if your house is back here. You can see the other houses are kind of in this area where it's the 100-foot buffer, but you're going to have to be 300 feet back. So it might be back here, and to get a view of the water, you might have to raise that house up a lot to be able to see it, because you're not going to be allowed to clear a lot of these trees. And also, since this property is in a critical area, there's just more checks and balances about what can be done. And so that's just going to take longer to get permits. If you're thinking of building a house in the critical area, it can take up to 6 months longer than a house in another area that's not in the critical area, just because the amount of agencies the property and plans need to go through before it's a final approval. Now, the next property I want to show you is actually one that's in a neighborhood in California, Maryland, and it's a smaller lot. And the thing that I wanted to show you about this one is, 1, it has a plan in there. So if you see this kind of stuff, it probably means that the agent has uploaded these into the MLS documents, and the agent can get these documents to you. So you can see on the screen right now, it's not the best photo, but you can see there's a house cited, there's different stockpiles over here, and that's going to be for all the different fill that's removed, but it does need a well, which can drive up the cost a little bit. And the fact that there's already plans here makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker probably to get this one done. Now, looking at the description, a few things stand out to me, and one of the biggest things is all fees paid and permits in hand, including the payment of the excise tax. Now, that's something I forgot to mention in the last one. Every single property in St. Mary's County, and actually Maryland, when you build on it, there's an excise tax you have to pay, and they're saying they have already paid all those things. So since they've already paid those things, and since a lot of the legwork has been done, this is one that you could probably break ground pretty soon after buying it. And after breaking ground here, it's normally about 8 months or so to have from the time you break ground to the time the house is built, maybe even less depending on the size of the house. So for me, this one, being in a neighborhood and already having the plans, this is a more ready, set, go kind of situation if you're looking to build. But there's still a big lift on your part. You're gonna have to find a builder. You're gonna have to make sure the plans that they've put on there are plans you want. And if not, you're gonna have to modify them. So there's still a lot of steps you have to do to even get this one done. Now, the last piece of property I'm going to show you is one that in the description, it really doesn't have any mention of how to get utilities there or whether or not it has septic. So this is one that if you see it, there's going to be a lot of legwork you're going to have to do to find out if it's going to be a usable lot or not. So right now I'm looking, and it's a 5-acre lot right down there in Ridge/Scotland, and it's currently zoned agricultural, which is great for the current owner, but might not be great for you, which means the taxes are low for them. But if you turn it into residential, it could drive up those taxes, and there could be some fees that are involved in changing it from agricultural to residential. And nowhere in here do I see anything about a permit for a perk. So there's a lot of things you're gonna have to figure out before you can even build on this property. Another thing that I see is I see this road that's going right through it. That means somebody has an easement through the property as well. I'm not sure who that is, but that might impact where you can put your house as well. And then there's properties all around the edge of it, which are going to impact your setbacks. So this one isn't a slam dunk as like the first one or even the second one too. But if you're looking for just some land that you want to really kind of figure out and make your own at a lower cost, because this is lower cost for 5 acres, $125,000, that's not horrible. This might be a good choice for you. So when you're looking at land in Southern Maryland, just understand it's not all equal. And honestly, each piece of parcel, each piece of land is completely different, and it's best to work with someone like myself or another agent who has worked and bought land before to really understand what you're doing, because it can be a little bit intimidating, especially when you start dealing with zoning and other issues that may come up when you're looking at these properties. Look, hopefully these properties and these examples gave you a little bit of information about buying land in Southern Maryland. If you want to talk more about it, use the contact information below. Call me, text me, and I'll be happy to help any way that I possibly can. Look, I really appreciate you watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.